Hello everyone, welcome back to the EMDR Doctor podcast. I'm Dr. Caroline Lloyd and welcome to episode 40. So this episode was inspired by a Facebook post I saw this week, asking for resources or advice about how to help someone you love after they've had an EMDR session. Great question. So I always give some advice to my clients about post-session care, but this question was specifically about how to help others. And it is such a lovely and heartwarming question, such a generous question to ask. So I am imagining what brought this question on. Maybe a partner or a sibling or a child comes home after an EMDR session, drained, exhausted, a little bit emotional, not really able to put into words the experience that they've just had, maybe not wanting to talk about it or not being able to, or maybe on the other hand, really keen to talk about it. But none of this quite makes sense to you as an observer. So even if you really want to understand what happened, it might be quite difficult to actually get a sense of what's happened because the work can be very deep and also very broad. So it might not make a lot of sense to those who haven't done EMDR before, as it is quite different from regular talk therapy. So first of all, I would say come towards them gently. Give them space when they come in the door, approach them with love and patience. Be aware that they have had a pretty intense experience. They may really want and need to talk, or they may really not. Everyone is different. If they say no, not now, then just respect that. They will be ready to talk about it when they're ready. If they do, then just offer non-judgmental support. Just offer the listening ear, so to speak. They just need to let it out. They don't need advice. They don't need you to solve anything. Some people make sense of things by talking it out. Other people just need to make sense of it privately before having a conversation about it. You may like to offer some physical touch, but please don't be offended if it is declined. So many people will really love a big, gentle, warm hug. Just holding, just steady and warm. But if they're doing EMDR on something that involved physical injury of some sort, they may just really need to keep their body to themselves. Any touch might feel a bit intrusive. So verbally offer, would you like a hug? Can I offer you a hug? Or do you want to sit with me on the couch in front of the TV? That might be a really nice way of getting some just gentle attunement, just sitting with someone, not specifically doing anything in particular, just watching TV, but just having your presence there. Bring them a warm cup of tea. They may not even know that they need to have a sit and a rest and a warm drink. Thinking can feel very hard or even impossible, even about small things like what's for dinner. So if you can, just take over that household task for the night, or even just take over the household for the night. Make the dinner or order the takeaway. Just order their favourites. Just check in with them. That sounds like a reasonable meal. And just take responsibility for that piece of the household management load. This is not the time to be making decisions. So don't push for decisions even about nice things like holidays, and especially don't push for decisions like, shall we invite your mother to Christmas? That is going to be a mistake. Don't do that. So put big decisions off and put very personal decisions off for another day. Most things can wait 24, 48 hours, and that's okay. So a lot of times after EMDR, things can feel very overwhelming and people might need to limit stimulation. So many people feel the need for quiet and just a peaceful environment. So keep the noise level low. Maybe if there are kids around, offer to take the kids out if they're being a bit noisy. Don't be doing inside handyman jobs, handy person jobs like drilling or hammering, anything that kind of adds to that kind of acoustic load. Just try and keep the environment steady, quiet, and calm. I would really suggest, for most people after an EMDR session, I tell them to rest. So allow rest. Even if they seem okay the minute they walk in, they are still going to need to rest. It might hit them half an hour later, that pure exhaustion. Hopefully in your household you can put off anything that involves exertion or decisions. Don't pack boxes to move house or anything like that. Just probably for 24 hours, sometimes 48 hours if it's been a really intense session, and especially if it's been dealing with big traumas or very early traumas. They're often really exhausting to process. So rest might need to extend into the next day. If someone needs a mental health day, just support them, just accept it. Especially early in the process, when the biggest shifts are happening. Usually early in the process is when the bigger things are happening. People often do need a day off the next day, and if that is possible, then gently support it and avoid shaming or minimizing the experience. Now is absolutely not the time to say, chin up, worst things happen at sea. Don't say that. So instead, try saying something like, you've been doing some really deep trauma work. You need to rest. Even if I don't know exactly what you've been through, I'm here for you. I love you. I'll take care of things for now. We can talk later. Just take the time that you need. So sentences like that are really supportive and very gentle, and they will help. Sometimes it's really helpful to offer to pick someone up after an EMDR appointment. So it might be comforting for them to know that they don't have to drive home, they don't have to negotiate heavy traffic, they don't have to make decisions or be in charge of a car or be in the presence of other people on public transport. So a lift home is sometimes a very supportive and very generous way to help the people that you love in their EMDR journey. So if you notice that your loved one is a bit teary, this is normal. If they need to cry, just let them. Be there, don't talk very much. Just offer hugs and warm presence. Don't try and fix the problem, because the problem is likely that they just have an excess of emotion. They just need to let it out. Nothing needs to be done about that. The tears just need to flow. So sit with them, hold them if they want that, have the tissues there, just pat them gently if they like that, and gently just verbalize support. So supportive things to say might be things like, that's the way, I'm here, that's it, let it out, you're doing really well, that's the way, I'm here, don't worry. It's okay. Something like that. So just really nice, just gentle, supportive utterances. I suppose you're not having a conversation. You're just letting them know that you're there to support them, that you're there. Really, that's all they need. So if they don't want you with them, that's okay too. It is not personal. They may just really need to be alone. They might want a really big nap. They might want to sit in the bath for a little while. They might want to go for a walk, maybe alone or maybe with you. They might want to just listen to some music or put on their favourite comfort binge Netflix show, or do some art to express their feelings in a bit of a different way. So all of these are really valid just beautiful self-care things that people can do after an EMDR session. Journaling is also a really nice way to allow thoughts to kind of be processed a little bit more after EMDR. So what if all of this is not enough? What if someone is really, really upset after a session? So sometimes if there's a high level of distress, then the session may not have been complete. We might not have finished the target, or it may have seemed complete at that moment, but then in the couple of hours afterwards, maybe some other stuff came up for the person, maybe some related memories. So you can try distraction, playing a card game, watching Netflix, doing some grounding exercises. If these things don't work, then the next step would be to organise a dose of medication. If they have some Valium or a sedative or something similar on hand, then it is okay to take one of those. If you are not sure, then call the therapist or call the GP and have a chat about it. Sometimes after EMDR, people can have some really weird dreams or even nightmares. So this doesn't mean that the EMDR hasn't worked. It just means that the brain is continuing to process some more of those bad memories. They usually settle down after a night or two, but if not, then suggest chatting to the therapist about it. So if your loved one is having a nightmare in the middle of the night, and you wake up and you might hear them, talking in their sleep or shouting, or they may be very restless, or they may be thrashing around a little bit, then the best thing that you can do is probably turn a bedside light on, like just a dim light, not the overhead light. It's going to be too bright and that will wake them. But just turn a dim light on and don't try to wake them from a nightmare. So sometimes that can make things worse in that they'll remember every detail of the nightmare if you wake them from a nightmare. Also, they are likely to wake very disoriented. They may think that you are part of the nightmare, and so they might lash out at you. So you don't really want to be on the receiving end of that. They might clock you on. So if they do, it is not personal. It is not your fault. They are just not aware of where they are. So just try to keep a little bit of a distance. So if they are half awake and seem to be kind of rousing and coming back to consciousness, then gently call their name, speak low in a nice calm voice, keep your distance, and if they recognize you, then offer the hug or the hand on the shoulder or whatever feels good for them. You can tell them, you're safe now, it's okay, it's over, it was a nightmare, it's over now, I'm here, something like that. Whatever feels supportive and natural for you to say. So we've gone over a few techniques for some of the main kind of issues and problems after an EMDR session: that dysregulation, that upset, that need for rest, need for nourishment, need to not make any decisions, sometimes the need to be alone, and what to do in case of a nightmare. I really hope that that's really helpful for you if you have someone in your life who is going through EMDR. If you personally are going through EMDR and you want to share this episode with your family or your loved ones, feel free to do so. Hopefully it will be helpful for you. So I will talk to you again next week. Until then, take good care. Bye for now.